Creepy things happen before the grave.
Good night, everyone. The reason why I started to listen to creepypastas was that horror movies really weren't scaring me anymore. I decided to take to YouTube to see if anything would scare me. This is where I found the creepypasta community. No movie can be as scary as what your own imagination can conceive. I've decided to share with you the top 10 lists of my favorite creepypastas. I also want you to know that even though stories I have narrated are not on the list, it doesn't mean I don't love them. I don't narrate stories I think will get a ton of views or what I think others want to hear. I only narrate the stories that I want to hear. If others like them as well, then that's great. I will include the links so that you can hear the stories or read them for yourselves in the description box down below. Number 10, Meek by MyStreve. Synopsis: online gaming addiction is taken to its sinister extreme. This story really left a bad feeling in my stomach. Without giving too much of its plotline away, I'll say the reason why it bothered me was because around the time that this story came out, there was a news report of a family living in deplorable conditions. Moldy food and feces-filled diapers caked to the floor. Children malnourished and covered in their own filth. Where are the parents, you ask? They had state-of-the-art monitors and gaming systems so that they could play World of Warcraft all day and all night. Number 9, The Song and Dance Man by Dylan Charles. Synopsis: a traveling show comes into a small town to everyone's delight. However, this showman is not what he seems. I've said this in a previous video, that horror movies and stories lose their power when the evil entity is explained, or all your questions are answered. This story is eerie, but descriptive, without giving too much away. I also like stories that are based in the past. This one is based in, I think, the 1940s or 50s, and I like the historical context of it. Number 8, The Showers by Clover10176. Synopsis: every small town has its haunted house or urban legend about a building or an area where terrible things happened. But what if those stories were true? I give tremendous props to the authors that can write longer creepypastas and keep it interesting throughout. I believe one of the most intriguing things about many creepypastas is the ounce of truth that flickers around them. The possibility that this might just happen to you. This story seemed very truthful. Yes, some supernatural, out of the ordinary things happen, but there's still like this air that this actually happened to somebody, and that's what makes it so scary. Number 7, Five Nights at Freddy's by multiple authors. Synopsis: this popular video game has become the inspiration for multiple creepypastas since its release. What really is the truth behind Freddy Fazbear? I'm not much of a gamer, and I have never played this video game. Hell, I didn't even know it was a game at first. But the Five Nights at Freddy's stories intrigue me because they're based around a popular children's pizza parlor, similar to today's Chucky's restaurants. But it's not Chucky that comes to my mind. It's Showbiz Pizza. It was one of my favorite places to go as a child, and I've had many birthdays there. I want to write my own creepypasta about my experiences, but if you have the time, do some research about Showbiz Pizza and see if you notice any of the creepy similarities that I did. Number 6, The Holder series. Author unknown. Synopsis: there are 2,538 sacred objects, each containing its own set of powers and rules. Many will seek them if they can live through the trials. I wonder how many people have ever really tried to find any of these objects. I like the idea of these stories because you don't have to go on a super mystical quest to find these supernatural objects. You can start right in your hometown. Although I am curious, I would never want to hold one. Sometimes power can be a prison. Number 5, Candle Cove by Chris Straub. Synopsis: we all have our favorite TV shows from when we were kids, but this particular show has a broadcast unlike any other. I don't know why this particular story sticks out in my mind. I guess if you were to look up old kid shows from like 60s, 70s, or 80s, some of those images can be quite disturbing. Without a story attached, your brain on its own can come up with all sorts of horrible things. I feel the author did a really good job on helping the listener envision what Candle Cove actually looked like. Number 4, Where Bad Kids Go, author unknown. Synopsis. Children's shows, for the most part, are supposed to be educational, but if you don't learn your lesson after watching this show, it could cost you your life. If you ever wanted a child to go to bed early or eat their vegetables, then make them watch this show. It's easy to watch terrible images on television screen and think, oh, it's just a show or a movie. But this isn't just a show. It's really happening. Anything having to do with kids creeps most people out, but this one takes it to a whole new level. Number 3, The Expressionless by Ivy Sir. Synopsis. Emergency rooms see all types of horrors, but no one was prepared for what entered the hospital on that fate-filled night. This story is written so well that when I first heard it, I believed it to be real. The story is short but powerful. I'm embarrassed to say that there's still a little part of me that believes that it still could be real. Demons do walk among us. This one decided to reveal itself. Number 2, The Russian Sleep Experiment, author unknown. Synopsis. Hoping to push the limits of what the human body is capable, scientists unlock something that was never meant to be seen. This is still one of my favorite creepypastas. The history of scientific testing on humans seems barbaric today, but human experiments were performed in the past, sometimes with terrible, terrible outcomes. However, without some of them, we wouldn't have the discoveries we have today. The scary thing about this story is, what if something like this experiment actually was attempted? Number 1, Abandoned by Disney by Slime Beast. Synopsis. The Disney brand is recognized worldwide, so why would this powerhouse just abandon some of its properties with everything left inside? This story made the top of my list because I am a Disney freak. My mother and I go to Disneyland every single year. There have been many theories and controversies surrounding the Disney brand and Walt Disney himself. This story, however, puts a sinister spin on what might be going on under the surface and leaves you with more questions than answers. I couldn't decide between making this number 1 and Disney Catacombs number 1. Both are fantastic stories, and both stories made me love Disneyland that much more. But of course, I am a horror fan. Thank you so much for listening. There are a ton of creepypastas that I do love. These are just the ones that stuck out on my mind. If you like this video, please let me know, and please tell me what your favorite creepypastas are in the comments down below. Thank you.